Hi friends, this is Irech E. You're welcome to this tutorial. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to create fascinating profiles using sweeps and review. I'm also going to teach you how to apply them in various ways, either by predefined or model in place. Ultimately, you will learn how to use it to build a wall template just like this one, which can be used or transferred to other projects rather than creating it over again. So, having said that, let's get started. Alright, here we are on a new project. To begin with the sweep and review, first of all, the sweep command is under the wall. If I expand this, you're going to see wall sweep and wall review, but they are not active unless you select a wall. I pick a wall and then generic wall 200 millimeters. If you expand it, you can make a choice. So I pick 2 to 5 millimeters, create a wall just like that. Maybe go this way and this way as well. Now the next thing I want to do is to go to 3D to look at the wall. If I select the wall, you're going to see on the properties panel the unconnected is 8000 millimeters. There is no point setting up anything. Let's just use it to demonstrate what we are talking about. Now, if you now go to this wall and expand this, you're now going to see that the wall sweep and review are active now. So for sweep command, just go and pick sweep, and then you can see it displayed there. So just click at any point, and at this point it's going to be invisible, but if you try to zoom out or zoom in, it will appear. Now you can move your cursor over to this place, and once you click, it will appear as well. On the same thing is applicable to this other side. Once you click, it will appear. Just zoom out and zoom in. So that's how this works. All right, then if you select the sweep profile, you will see this arrow pointing up and down. You can use it to switch the profile the other way around. And then here you're also going to see these dimensions, all right? So you can use this also to modify the dimensions by clicking on any of them. For instance, if I enter 0 on this one, it's going to be at the tip of the wall. I enter 0 and click outside anywhere, is now at the tip of the wall. Now you can take a closer look. This is just a default profile. Then for review, the same thing is applicable. Just go to wall, expand it, pick wall review. As if you try to zoom out, you will see it appear there. Then if I hit escape, I've escaped out of the command, so you could see the review there. The review simply means a groove on the wall. And then if I want to continue with the review, all I have to do is click, and then here you see add/remove walls. Click on it. Once you click on it, click on this other wall here. It will equally appear there. So just continue like that. Click on this, it will appear there as well. Click outside, you see you have the review there. And when you select the profile as well, you can adjust the height 2000 mm and click outside. You could see it drops down. I can use this to flip depending on the design of the profile and how it is faced. Now, having said this, the next thing I want to do now is to delete the review. Let's focus on the sweep for now. What if you try to switch the profile to another? In that case, what you do is just to select the sweep. Here you see the profile here as default. If you click this down, we just have two different profiles here. Click on this one, you've switched it, apply it and click on OK. You can see that we've actually switched the profile. So what we have here now is looking different. This is how it's looking. I don't think you really need this for anything. So what we're going to do now is switch it back to the default by clicking on edit profile and going back there to change it. Then for the materials, you can change the materials here. Click on this and then you can change the material to something more preferred. So I like to use this cherry. Then click on OK, apply, say OK. Then if you turn this into maybe consistent color or shaded, you're going to see what it looks like there. Now let us create a predefined profile and apply it to this wall. What to do in that case is to go to File, New, then click on Family. In this case, we are using English and click Open. Since it's sweep I'm creating, so I'm just going to look for metric generic model, or metric profile rather. If you click on it, you can see the preview there. Open. Now here we are. You can start creating whatever you want to create. Go to Create, click on Lines, and in this case I pick Lines, so I just click there and then maybe 150 millimeters high, then go horizontal, say 250, then maybe 75 mm. I'm trying to be intentional in what I'm creating, but you can just do anything. This is 30 millimeters. Maybe I just slant it that way somehow. Then I go horizontal. Let's say I have something like this, or I can take this off and delete it and maybe pick line once again and then use arc instead of a straight line. I just use arc like that. Now once you're done, the next thing you have to do is to save it to your drive by clicking on File, Save As, Family. So you can name it. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to name it as let's say Cornice 101, so we can remember it. Then I'll just save it on my desktop. After that, you can load into project and close. Now we've loaded that into the project, so I go back to 3D. To apply it here, all I just have to do now is to click on this profile here and I go Edit Type. Under Default, just expand it. You see Cornice 1 there. Select it, apply, say OK. You can see that it has changed. In this case, I don't like the way it's positioned. That's where the tiny arrow comes in handy, so I click on that and then I change the direction of that. Alright, this is what we have, but then it's not properly positioned. Actually, it's supposed to line up, the top of the profile is supposed to line up with the top of the wall, but in this case the top is above the wall. So how to correct this is by going back to the profile and doing some corrections there. So I click on this here. This is Cornice 1. So I'm just going to double click on it. So the next thing I want to do in this case is maybe I just adjust it a little before I show you what I have to show you. I have to pull this up a bit so it will look better than before, and then after that select this, use Move. I pick it from this point and place it here. Our horizontal reference line becomes the top of it. I'm going to go back to File, Save As, Family. Now the same name, let's save it as the same name, but however when we get into the project we are going to overwrite the existing. So load into project and close. Overwrite the existing version, click on that, and let's go back to 3D and see. So you could see that is now corrected and the profile is now looking more better. Alright, what if in a case where you want to create a profile using the model in place on the face of the wall like this? What you have to do in that case is to go to Components, then Model in Place. So because we don't have any suitable category for that, we are just going to choose Generic Models. Click on OK. Here you can see on the Modify tab all the tools needed for any kind of profile. You have it there, and in this case we are going for Sweep. And the next thing I want to do is to set up the work plane for your profile, and in this case it's going to be the face of this wall. So I just go to Set, pick a plane. Okay, I'm going to click on the face of the wall. Once it's highlighted, you're going to see the highlight with the blue line. You click, then the face of the wall becomes your work plane. Here I'm just going to sketch parts and then pick either line or any of these geometries. So line is the best for us. I'm going to turn this to face me head on. Then I make the first line just like that. So I just want to make a shape like this. And once you're done sketching, you click on finish. At this point, you are good to go. So the next thing you have to do is to edit profile. You either choose any of the geometry tool to start making your sketch. I'm just going to select circle and place it at the center of the red dots there. So I make a circle of let's say 500 there, and hit finish. Hit finish once again, and you have your profile there on that wall. You can hit finish to conclude everything. So you have that profile right there. But the problem is that once you turn this wall this other way, the profile is also on this other side. Now we can turn the graphic display into maybe consistent color. So you see, and we have it on this other side. But in a case where we just want it on this side and not on this side, what do we do then? Is just to select the profile. Let me turn this to front so that we can be watching it head on. You see edit in place, click on it. You click on the profile once again, the second time, and here you can see edit sweep. You click on that, but it's not over. Then you come to the profile here and click on it. Once you click on it, you can now continue with the edit profile. So at this point now, we can go ahead and pick split element and split this point, also split this point, and hit escape. Then you can click on this and delete it, pick line and join the geometry down there, then hit finish the second time, then finish again. So we have the profile there. If I turn to this other side, you see it's no longer on this part. You only have it here. And if you need to change the material of this, the same way you change the material for predefined profile is not the same way you change the material here. What you do is to select the profile. Alright, because if you check here on the properties panel, you are not going to see where the material is. So you click on edit in place, hit this the second time, and then you scroll down. You're going to see material here. Click this, change it to whatever, and I pick that cherry once again, hit finish. Alright, so you have that. Now, how can we swerve this profile? Maybe with this. How to do that? What you have to do in that case is to select this profile. You go to edit in place, select it the second time as well, edit sweep. Now here is the profile. Once you select it, you see that the profile here becomes active. Then click on this and we have our cornice, so you can make your choice. And I'm going to select this and apply, then hit finish once again, and you have it there. But if you take a closer look at it, you're going to notice it's not properly positioned. What I have to do to place it properly, just like this, is to select it. You come here and drop this down. Somewhere down below there, you're going to see horizontal profile offset, and you see the vertical profile offset, but in this case let's just say 300 millimeters. Now by looking at the profile, you could see that this design is not visible on our direction, it's facing the other way around. Now what to do to turn it to our direction is by just selecting it, edit in place. You select it the second time, and in this case you come down, and then this angle, let's try 180 degrees, apply, look at it, maybe from 180 to let's say 270 degrees, and we apply it, hit finish, and this is exactly how it should be according to what we have here. However, in the course of adjusting this profile, this 300 millimeters vertical profile, we may have gotten it wrongly, but to confirm exactly where this profile is, we go to level 1. It can't appear here until you hit finish, alright? Now we have it here. So if you take a look, you see that there's a gap between the wall and the profile. So you can do the adjustment here by selecting it and picking move. You move it to the profile there. Now it's accurate. Let us assume that your project is as complex as this or even more complex than this, and you need to run parapet at the tip of the wall just before you place your roof. Now what I'm going to do in this case is to create a wall and then attach profile to it, and then we bring it here and apply it. So I just move to wall and select wall, and here we have the generic 2 to 5 millimeters wall, edit type. I'm going to duplicate this, call it something I can remember easily, maybe parapet wall 1, and hit OK. Then we are still going to leave the thickness as 2 to 5 millimeters. For the wall, the next thing I'm going to do is to change this from floor plan modify type to section modify type attribute, so I can see the wall before I attach the profile to it. Then for the profile, we can now click on sweep, add, and then this is the profile. I hit OK once again, hit OK once again. Then now the next thing I want to do is to run the parapet at the top of this. Here we have it. First of all, we need to have a base point for the top of this. Remember, we didn't set the levels for it, so let's go and set level at the top of this so that it can be our work plane. So to do that, we go to south elevation. So I will pick level. At this point, I click and then do something like that. Now it becomes level 3. We can just drag all this to get to that point where we have that. Okay. Alright, this is better. So we go back to 3D. We can hide this just like the others. So we go to site view and click on it. Now if I pick wall, and then here on the base constraint, we can turn it back to level 3, which becomes our base point. So the unconnected there, let's turn it to 150 mm. I'm going to show you what that represents, and then watch out for the location line is wall center line. Base offset, we can leave it as 0 for now. Then the next thing I want to do is to start running parapet on top. So this is the wall center line. I place it here. As you're running it, you're seeing it displayed there. I get to this point, I click. Finally, I link it up to this point. So you could see the parapet around it. Then if we go to 3D, if you turn it around, you see. Now if I select this, you could see that the wall in which it's attached to is on top of this, and then the parapet is flowing outside. Now if I select the parapet and hit my space key, it's going to flip into becoming internal. If I select it again and hit space key, now in this case, let's select any of these parapet, and then I come here to base offset and maybe type 300 millimeters and apply. It's going to offset from its base to 300 millimeters. So that's the reason why it's important to leave it as 0. Apply. Then for unconnected here, let us turn this unconnected to 600 millimeters and apply it. So you will notice that the wall that is on top there will extend to that 600 millimeters, alright? And the parapet will just be on top. Now let's apply what we have done to others. I right click and select all instances visible, and then I come here to unconnected, type in 600. You're going to see that just before the parapet, you have a wall here that can bear a different materials from the normal wall, while the parapet remains the way it is. Now, I like to change this into a different material. Maybe something that looks like, this is better. Alright, so you can have it as something different from that, and you can reduce the height of it or you can increase it depending on you. If you want to reduce it, it's just to select it and then select all instances in view. You go here and change it can be 300 millimeters depending on what you like. So this is what I mean by you want to add another layer of beauty to your parapet wall. For the parapet, you can change the material as well, or you can have a better design. So this is it for this. Then finally, to create a template that you can always use and reuse again in future projects. How to do that? Go to File and create more profiles. Go to New, Family. Then I pick English once again. Of course, metric profile. Open. I'm just going to pick my line, maybe 1200 millimeters, and then maybe 50 millimeters or 75 millimeters. Alright, this we can save it back on my desktop. Save as, Family. Okay, I'm going to call this wall coating 01. I like to use numbers to help me remember. Then the next thing I want to do is to load it into the project and close. Then I'm also going to go back to File and create others by going to New, Family, English once again, and then I go to metric profile. This time around I'm going to create a different profile, so I pick line or 200 millimeters, then I do 100, 45, then another 45, 25 once again. But you can make it better, you can have something more specific. So I go back to my file and save it as Family. I'm going to name this Cornice 2, save. Then let's load it into the project and close it. Then the next thing I want to do is to also create another one. I'm just going to go back to File. What I'm about to create now is for review and not for sweep. So I go back to New, Families, English, Open. So here I'm just going to look for review template. So here you can see metric profile review. Click on it and open it. Then I pick 150 is fine, 150, maybe 80 profile. Then I'm going to save it, save as Family. Here is my desktop. I'm just going to call this review 01, save, load into project and close. Here what I want to do is to pick wall, and then I create a wall just like that. Now this wall is the parapet wall we had created earlier. So what I'm going to do now is to switch it to maybe this. Maybe I create this instead. So I have this wall. Then the next thing I want to do is to go to 3D to look at the wall, and the height of the wall is nothing to write about, so I'm just going to turn this into 8000 millimeters. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is to just apply all the profiles to this wall and turning it into a template that we can always use over and over. First of all, I have to select this wall and duplicate it to become a different wall so that we can also have this. Then I edit type, duplicate, then we can call it maybe sweep and review profile. Click on OK, change the thickness to 150 millimeters. Now at this point we have this, we already have it as the section modified type. Alright, so we can be applying all of those profiles here. First of all, I like to apply it to the base. Let's click on sweep, add, then go to default. We are first of all applying Cornice 2. Alright, this. Okay, the positioning is not fine. So what to do to place this appropriately is in two ways. It is either we go back and flip it to the top of the reference lines, or we can use this distance here, and this is supposed to be 150 millimeters, and adjust it here. So this is 150 millimeters, apply. So you can see we have it here. All right, then the next thing I want to do is to change the material of that. Then the next thing I want to do also is to make sure it's at the top of this wall here. Then I add another, I turn here into top, apply it, and then change the profile here to cornice 2 and apply. So that's it. Then we can also change this, the material. Okay, so we've applied 2. Let's also add another. We are going to apply the coating. So this coating is supposed to be at the base, so I click on it and apply it. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is to align this. Alright, and how to align it is by going to distance here, and the height of that is supposed to be 1200 millimeters. So I hit apply, so we have it there. If you click on OK, you see it there. Actually, Revit has to warn you because there's an obstruction there. So what I'm going to do with that obstruction, that's where this offset column comes in handy. Now we have this profile at the base here, which is this. All right, if you notice, any of this profile that I click is going to show you the profile I'm referring to. So with this particular cornice here, which is at the base here, as you can see is highlighted, I'm going to offset it to the thickness of this coating here, which is 75 millimeters. And at this point, I'm just going to type in 75 millimeters and apply it. You can see it at the tip of it there. And I can also apply another one of it at the top of this cornice. So I'm just going to say add, and then the default there is also cornice 2. Then for our materials, I'm going to change some of these materials later. Then for the distance, I'm going to use 1200 millimeters offset, and I hit apply. So of course you say could not create integral wall sweep for wall instances. 2 wall sweeps are overlapping. That's just the warning sign. So I'll say okay, and I don't want them to overlap. So let's make it 1350 just to give room for that. What I actually want to do is to add reviews in between to a point. So let's go ahead and add reviews, and here I'm just going to click on OK, and then I go to review. So this is review instead of sweep. I click on review. Now we are going to add, expand this, review 01. So I click on that, and then it's going to be at the base. The distance of that review between here and here is 1.350. So 1.350 plus 300 is going to be 1650. So I make here 1000 and I hit apply. So we have the first one there. Before we continue, I like to OK this and then OK this for us to go to 3D and see what the review looks like. So I say OK, OK. I turn this around. Now I have this profile here. I have this here. Then I have at the top. Then what about the reveal? If you click, the reveal is there, but you can't see it because reveal is supposed to be a groove that is cutting the wall, but here is not cutting anything. That's because the way it is placed there, there is a problem. So to solve that problem, we go back to it, click on edit, go back to review. Here we have it For it to cut on the wall, it has to eat into the wall. So to do that, we have to use offset. To offset it, maybe, or say 100 millimeters. Now to see that it has cut into the wall at 100 millimeters. Now if I click on OK and OK it again, OK it once again, and then here you can see we now have that. All right, there is no way we can copy and paste here like we did in the first instance, because what we are creating here is a template. So I'm just going to go back by selecting this and edit type, then edit again, pick review, and then here we have 1650 and we are placing it at 300 millimeters interval. So 1650 plus 300 is going to be 1950. Then I add another review, and then here I drop it down and pick it 1950, and then it's going to start from the base as well. Here is perpendicular, here is going to be 100 millimeters as well. Then again, when we apply that, we add another. All right, once you're done, you click on apply and then say OK, and come here and hit OK again. So this is it, and you can use this on any of your projects depending on what you like using it for. All right, you can extend it, it all depends on you. You can be more intentional depending on the height of the wall. If the height of the wall is 4 meters, you can create this to the point where you like it. And if you want to use it for pillar as well, you just have to take note of the height of the pillars, and then you can go and keep adding 300 to this review to whichever level you prefer. Now to apply this as a pillar, all you just have to do is to go to your level, all right, and pick the wall. Now this is the wall. The unconnected here is 150 millimeters. You can turn the unconnected to level 3 depending, which is like 8000 millimeters, and then you pick your rectangle and create whatever. And then if you go back to 3D, and then if you feel that this gap between here and here is too wide, all you just have to do is to select the wall and then go to edit type. Here come back to edit and maybe your review or sweep, and you add 300 to the value. Under offset you type 100. For instance, I add another one, 4700 plus 300 gives us 5000. Here you type in 100 millimeters and apply it. Sorry, your default this thing here, you change it to the review and apply. So you have it there. So once you get to a point where you are okay with it, you just say okay and okay it again, and then you have that there. Keep applying it on your project rather than just each time you start up a project you have something like this to create again. And you can change the material of this to maybe brick stones. And how do you do that? Select that and go back to edit type, click on edit once again. The coating there, you have it under sweep, wall coating. Then you click here and then you choose maybe brick. Let's just say brick common. Click on this. If you turn these shadows, this is looking like what you saw at the beginning of this tutorial. Now with this, we've come to the end of this tutorial, and if you have not subscribed to this channel at this point, I urge you to do so for more Revit tutorials like this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.